we are back with another Black Window Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World, and this is my comrade. Introduce yourself, dog.
Hello, I'm David. Nice to meet you again.
Dave, what can you tell the audience about yourself?
Nothing.
Sick. Good co-host. Today's topic is, well, we're basically going to call it the truth about touring. Pros and cons, because we've seen this kind of talked a lot about in our private community, and a lot of people I think touring is the answer. So yeah, that's the question. Will touring solve your problems? But before we get into that, I just want to tell a story real quick because it's kind of funny. So Andrew just called me. Andrew Sandler, my friend. Go look him up. He directs dope shit, and he just got nominated for a VMA. Shout out to Andrew. But he called me. He's down in Florida, in Miami, shooting a Spotify doc, and he's like, they're filming the behind the scenes of a music video is being shot for this artist, right? So they're just like showing that. And while they were doing it, he said this kid was kind of following him around. He was just kind of like, what the fuck? He kind of noticed him, and he went outside to take a phone call, and the guy followed him out. And then he went up to him. He's like, hey, you're Andrew Sandler, right? He's like, yeah. He goes, I'm in BWNC. He's like, he started dying. He's like, it's like a fucking secret society or some shit. I'm in BWNC. Yeah, so shout out to all my BWNC members.
We should come up with like fraternities. There should be a fucking BWNC handshake when you meet another member.
We should. That'd be hard as fuck.
Just like low key, you don't even say anything. You're just like,
no, I'm with it. I'm fucking down. Break your wrist, boy. So anyway, that was funny, but just real quick to announce that today the Dutch Bros contest is coming to an end. The last day is July 28th. So don't forget, make sure you submit July 28th. You have till 11:59 p.m. to submit your photos or videos or both, depending on what you chose to do. But yeah, this Sunday is when we wrap it up. We're dropping Ravens episode, and that's for episode 100. So it's a big celebration. We gave a discount code in there. I don't know if there's anything else we drop in that thing, but that's it. So just make sure you submit your shit by the 28th, midnight, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Just email your submissions, links, whatever you do, to bwnc@dutchbros.com. And I think right now, let's just play that fucking ill-ass intro we made last week.
Shit, I almost forgot we have this.
Yeah, so let's roll that shit.
Right.
Motherfucking Welcome to the Morning Roast, a place where you will get the most info from a deep dive into the topics that really need life, with your host Ben and Dave, coming to you live today. Grab your cup of joe and take some fucking notes, you bitch. And we're back. I love this intro. Definitely crushes any song Lil Nas X has ever made.
100%.
Super facts. And all other country artists, if you consider Lil Nas X country. I think there's a debacle, but will touring solve your problems? Will it, Dave?
Okay, so I just want to pose the question because I think this is a really dope topic, and I feel like from the nature of Ben's following, from this jump, we do have a lot of creators in Black Window Cream who aspire to go on tours and tour with artists, which is dope as hell because touring is awesome. But I think it's there's a discussion that doesn't really get brought to the forefront in the sense of like just the truth about the touring life, what it provides for you, what the experience is actually like, pros and the downsides that a lot of people don't think of. You know, when you start in music as a creator, you look up to these people who tour because you want to be around these artists, you want to be in these environments, you want to play these shows and be backstage and travel, and it looks like you have lived the best life ever, and
right.
And you're going all these places, and you think that, okay, you see all these stories of, oh, the person went on tour and then now like everything happens for him. And I think there's a lot to be discussed about just like this other side of the curtain that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, which is tight. And so I think we should get into that in terms of like, well, we can start with, first off, like, of course, the pros of touring.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pros are usually pretty obvious. For me, my goal, I always wanted, I love traveling when I was younger and playing music and shit, and the touring was like part of my life as like, I don't know, fucking 12 years, how old, maybe 15 or something, until I was like out of college. And then still today. Yeah. But like early on, we were packing up like a 15 passenger van and like cruising around the US with our friends and like playing music in basements and shit. And I always got to experience that. And I always dreamt of like my checklist was like, I want to be in a tour bus. Like I want to experience like sleeping in a bunk and shit. And it's like so dumb, but it's like, I really want that. And finally it happened. It was cool. But to me, it was like, what are the reasons why I wanted to tour? And it wasn't necessarily just to like see the world. I always said I would want to see the world, and it would be because of music. But to be doing it because of music was more so to position myself to like farther my career in a sense. So for my first big tour, Schoolboy Q shit, it was me being his right hand guy as far as content goes, and having free range to be a creator and create. And it was like, for, you know, we've talked about this before, especially in like the How to Charge a Client guide. It's like, how do you decide is your time worth the money, is et cetera. And just hands down, one of the cons of touring is that people don't pay the creators enough. Like almost every person that I know that tours with an artist just never gets the bag that they thought it would be. It's never going to be that. Everyone always loops it in. It's like you're touring for so many days in a row, so they try to get you at like an even heavier discounted rate. There's like all these things that come with it. But on the pro side of things, before you even think about the money, yeah, you get to work with the artist or whoever you tour with. If you're fucking touring with like a YouTuber or some shit, whoever it is, you get to work and create constantly with these people and grow your talents, whatever it may be. Maybe it's your reel, you're building content for your reel. Maybe it's you're just trying to showcase your talents as a storyteller, whatever it may be. But I feel like the hard part that's overlooked is the money part of it. And I brought it up in that interview I did with DJ Booth, and I said that I thought it was fucked up about how like a lot of artists just, or a lot of not artists necessarily, but like labels, management groups, whatever it is, they never want to spend money. Like the creator that's shooting the content on the road is like the last person that they care about. And I've gotten out of that, and I feel like now it's, oh yeah, cool, B&J, it was like we were taken care of, it was really, really good. But leading up to that and hearing everyone else that I know that's in this industry, it's never that great.
Right.
You're like,
you probably don't think about that. You're like, oh, these guys that are touring with these artists, they're fucking living the life. They're staying in the balling ass hotel rooms, but you know, you don't see like editing on the bus in a cramped chair at 6 a.m. or all that stuff.
After being up for 12 hours, 15 hours.
Yeah, but I think just speaking on the pros before we get to the cons, from my perspective, like that is one of the coolest things. Is like when you go project to project, you're doing a bunch of different things and you don't get time to really like live in that, right? And if you love music, like one of the coolest things is getting to like live in that body of work and like really develop, and like the amount of growth it provides to being able to like, first off, travel, which is incredible. Right. To be able to see to be able to get paid to do what you love and go see the world is one of the best things. That's hands down one of the best things. Second thing is, even from my experience, like being able to create every single day, especially which I recommend with an artist that you, if you can, love their music, because then you get to live and develop as an artist and grow within their bubble, and the creative limits can be endless, especially if you have free reign like you did on Q's tour to like showcase yourself as a photographer, as a director, as a creator, as a social media marketer, as anything really. Right. Always coming up with ideas and kicking and that's definitely dope. But yeah, money is one thing we could talk about. Another thing is like health. Yeah, the health of it, the time that literally the time that you are spending away from your life. Like you've always said, like tour freezes your life.
Hands down,
and that's
like
100% true.
Your outside life freezes. Nothing else matters when you're on the road. Like it's impossible. We were just talking to Nikos about this. Our intern from Chicago, or he lives in Chicago, just went out on tour with
YBN Corday.
YBN Corday, and he was just hitting us like he just finished the tour. He's like, man, it's crazy how like it's full time. Like he's like, it was really hard to stay in touch with like my family and my friends, and I'm like, yeah, man, it's actually crazy. Like you think like 24 hours in a day, you're staying up 16 hours a day. You feel like in that 16-hour gap, you should be able to like get a hold of someone that you want to talk to. But just to break away or have a place to break away and make a phone call, do a FaceTime, whatever it is, becomes like really difficult. You like, as soon as you try to go call someone, you have someone texting you like, hey, come over here. This is happening. There's something cool is happening. Blah, blah, blah. Come capture this or edit this or blah, 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 blah. You're like always on call. So it's like impossible to like bridge the gap of like having a relationship outside of whoever you're on the road with, because you're constantly just stuck. Like you're stuck. There's 100%. Just a barrier.
There's even like, there's been plenty of like artists, especially like let's say DJs, or these artists who like have to tour, like their living is touring year round. There isn't like Beyonce and Jay-Z going to tour for 6 months and then they're home. It's
Right.
like these artists that are constantly touring every single weekend of the year, right? And plenty of them have chronicled their like the struggles they have mentally and personally with the stress that it takes to like not even have time to like think about yourself, or like literally the amount of energy it takes to literally try to carve 2 hours to just go work out for like 30 minutes just to feel good, because you're eating on the go at irregular times, not drinking enough water, not sleeping.
It was brutal. I want to say all this too with the idea with the basically
That's
it
what
is the illest shit on earth to be able to pull off being able to go tour with an artist, right? There's so many pros to it, but I think that people don't understand, and when they get to the chance to like go and tour, it hits them on the side of the face and like, holy shit. Maybe the money isn't great, that's one conversation, but that's all on you too. It's also how you negotiate and try to set yourself up for that. But I think people also don't expect the health thing, like to be able to be healthy on the road. It's like very challenging, especially when you're not getting paid very much, and then you're dealing with like shitty catering or something, and the money you do have, if you do get like a per diem or something, you don't want to spend it because you're like, well, I need as much money I can to like pay for my real life. So you're trying to just, eat the bullet and sit there and eat some fucking garbage ass catering every day, or chips and fucking Hot Pockets and shit. Like I gained like 30 pounds on Q's tour. It was like miserable because you come off tour and you're just like, holy shit, this is insane. Like what I've been eating literally Hot Pockets and fucking Uncrustables for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true, bro. Like the effort that it takes to just keep your body in like in a running state, because is honestly like insane to think about. Like you have to try hard as fuck just to like some mornings you just need to take 4 hours to just sit by yourself and just not talk to anyone. And I would just have like these recharges in the room when you got a chance, or like on the bus, just like not speak to anyone and just try to get your mind back to like zero before you had to keep continuing. Because if you don't take those breaks, like constantly moving, constantly doing something, constantly trying to create, constantly having responsibility, constantly worrying about what time you have to leave, all these things. And I think where this conversation leads to is the question we posed at the beginning, which is, will touring solve your problems? And I feel like, we say all these cons, and of course we're not trying to say the pros aren't there, because a lot of times the pros overweigh the cons.
Almost every single time
for the experience, and especially. But I do think it's interesting to me to see all these creators, and they're dying to go on a tour, and I guarantee literally any artist who would offer them, be like, you want to go on tour? They'd say yes before even thinking about it, right?
Right.
And the question, will it solve your problems? I think it's kind of misconstrued in the sense of like, oh, if you go on that tour, everything's good. Like my career will take off. But like, even with the tour of Beyonce and Jay-Z, or like any big tour, Drake or whatever, like you're going to get work from it, but no one's just going to come fucking knock on your door and say like, hey, you did this. Like, here's all these jobs. It happens like that, but you still have to go. Like it doesn't just do everything for you.
Right. It's like, how do you set yourself up to succeed after? Like
exactly.
That's the main, and this is kind of why I wanted to do this in the first place, because like my homie Travis, his nephew, had been like, I know he's like aspiring to be like a touring videographer, photographer, whatever. He wants to just go chill with rappers and tour, and life is good. And I think there's a lot of people that think like that. Like, dude, that would be so dope. Like, I'm young. I want to go get on the road and fucking travel around, go to these shows that are just fucking lit. I see them all on XXL and everything else on Instagram, and shit looks so fun. I wish I could just be on stage and capture the shit. But the reality is like, yeah, you can go do that and the shit's cool, whatever. But when I went on tour, the difference of me versus who they've had in the past for like Schoolboy Q shit was that they told me that every time they would go out, it'd be like a homie that had a camera who would come through and then get too high or do whatever, start drinking, barely ever turn around content, hardly didn't film shit, lost the footage, whatever it was, because it wasn't like they're not hiring someone like a specific role, you know what I mean? But B, it was someone that just was like, yeah, this is the life. Like, I'm fucking chilling. I got green room access, this, and that. I can take bitches backstage, blah, blah, blah. That's what they thought life was. Thanks. You're not a fucking rapper. That's the problem, is a lot of people think that they want, like, having the camera makes them an artist, which is crazy. Yeah. That's not the truth at all. You are a nerd. Job. You're a full-on fucking nerd. So, like, for me, coming into it, I'm like, oh, cool. This is going to be a layup for me because I work hard all the time and I don't give a fuck about getting fucked up. I don't give a fuck. I don't smoke. So that's cool. Like, all I want to do is make the illest shit I can possibly make within whatever my time frame is with you guys, and show you how ill my shit is. So when I got in, immediately hit the ground running with, I mean, I met everyone, and then they all like went to the gym, and I didn't know what else, I didn't know anyone or didn't know what to do or where the green room was or anything. And I immediately like got my Ronin out and started shooting the beginning of the first episode of Q's tour. I shot all that shit within literally an hour of landing at the airport. Like I just got out, started like capturing the venue because I'd already conceptualized the way the beginning of the video would be before I knew anything. Like I was already thinking like that. But my main goal was I will do this tour. This tour will open up doors for me because I will flex so fucking hard and everyone will know about who I am. I've already made sure that they'll have to tag my shit on Instagram or whatever. So some people are going to see it. And then when I get off, I'm going to use this as leverage to get several other jobs. Because when you get off the road, like you said, no one's knocking on your door. No one's asking you to fucking shoot for a branded content. No one knows what the fuck you do. You've just been shooting with an artist. No one knows what you're capable of doing outside of shooting an artist.
Right.
Like,
and plus you're in a bubble too. Cause like when you're on a tour, right? Like everywhere you go, shit's like you have someone driving you to where you go. The stadium, like you go through the back door, or you back door through a smaller venue, or you go in through a bus with everyone else, and there's traffic jammed out, and you live this life where you're like, damn, I'm the shit, right? And like everything seems like it's going up, and like this is never gonna stop. And the minute you get off tour, you realize like, oh no, I'm just the same person, and like you could. There's plenty of people that you look up to maybe, or people that you follow. They're like, damn, whatever. But like, you never know. They could be touring, creating the illest shit, and then going home and like you said one time, sleeping on a couch or sleeping on the floor or whatever, because it's not that. But what you do with it makes it what it is.
Right.
Like if you go on tour and that's your opportunity, it's literally your 100% your responsibility to turn it into something that's going to take your career off.
Right. There
are plenty of people who can go on tour and then they 2 years later they're like, I went on that tour, like pretty soon you got to make new things. And I think going to what you did, all of that you said, plus, one thing you taught me also was like, you got to like, and we were telling Nikos this too, like you want to be the source for content. You got to be giving people a look into your life and another look into this artist's life, if you can, and like being the source for content and constantly like if you're shooting something, don't go get a drink, like try to turn around that photo right away. You know what I mean? And give it to that person. Make those connections. Like create all you can, because those are the things that are gonna elevate you to like for that tour to be a stepping stone towards all the bigger opportunities that it can provide you.
We would get done with shows, and I remember we were somewhere overseas. I don't know where the fuck we were. Got done with the show. I go on the bus immediately and pull out my laptop and start dumping all my cards, right? And then everyone brings in. There was like homies that had been chilling, like the weed people or whatever that came through that are now cool with everyone. Like a bunch of chicks, whatever. Everyone comes on the bus and they just start drinking and want to party and music's loud. And I'm literally sitting on the bus like kitchen table trying to edit photos. People are like bumping shit around. I'm like, oh my god! I literally went and sat outside of the bus. Like sat outside the bus on my Pelican to just try to bang out all the photos so I could have like 15 solid ones, text them all to Q, and I was like caught up. Like I was like, all right, good. Like at least I have that done. I can wait till this party's over. Our bus leaves at 3. I'm gonna go shower real quick. We leave at 3 o'clock. I can start editing the video after that point. You know what I mean? But it's like, or I could have just been like, yo, what's up? Became friends with everyone, chilled, fucking started drinking, hanging out, whatever. And that would have been my night, and I would have probably not showered, slept in sweat, didn't edit any photos,
or just like quickly deliver some shittier photos that
probably just wouldn't have. Right. As soon as that happens 3-4 days in a row, you decide that that's the route you want to go, then all of a sudden you're just not doing shit, and you fuck yourself. Like that's the worst thing you could ever do. And it's not. I get it. It's like a rare once in a lifetime thing, but they didn't ask you to come to have fun. They're not like, yo, come have fun. They might want you to have fun. They might want you to have a good time and experience the world and blah blah blah. But you came for a task, so. Regardless of how much money you got paid to do it, whatever it is, even if it's a shitty rate, and you're like, man, this fucking sucks, I'm not even gonna go hard because they didn't pay me money. Just don't go on the tour then, if that's your attitude.
Facts.
Don't go on the fucking tour. Cool. So what? Don't go. Just don't fucking go. Or go and flex as hard as you fucking can and become somebody. Otherwise, you will just end up on the list of like everyone tours now. There's always an opportunity to tour because everyone's down to take someone for free with them.
Right.
But what will you do to stand out amongst all of them and create content that is next level, content that has meaning, content that will make you get booked by other companies, other brands, other artists in the future that will, you can tell them that you got paid 3 times the amount you did and then get booked for that rate the next time. Facts. Even though you didn't. Oops.
I think a cool point, I want you to touch on this from your experience. Like, you know, another thing that has to do with this is the idea of like, you know, you're going on this tour, right? But like you are creating what you are going to create, whatever happens, right? Like, yeah, you're just going to capture what happens, but that's not going to be enough. Like you got to go you got to direct, you got to make these stories. And I feel like you did that really well.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that in terms of like, you know, you couldn't just sit around and make the episodes. Like how were you were going above and beyond and making sure that there were sequences and you were getting these environments and these things that you could play out as a story that you could put together.
Right. I mean, and that goes on me studying so many other touring episodes, like things that I looked up to as a fan. I would always try to pay attention to what they would do and tell how they told their stories. And narrative's so fucking important. Everything you watch has a story. Even the dumbest commercials have a story. Like even an Aflac commercial there's a story, whatever. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. Like that's what people want to buy. That's what people want to buy into. You know what I mean? So with Q shit, it was like, all right, cool. I could just film them play fucking roll dice in the bus for 6 hours and throw around a couple $1,000s and lose it. That was tight. And I did. I'd film all that shit, but then I'd find how to make like 20 seconds of that make sense in the full story. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How do I make this a prank with Smack make sense in episode 1 to episode 3? You know what I mean? How do I have that reoccur back here? Like you kind of lay out the line here and then all of a sudden we fully execute in this one. It's like finding these little story moments, because other than that, it can just be like, oh, shows are crazy and just show. And a lot of people submit just like, oh, last night was sick.
Everyone's just doing that.
Yeah. Everybody in Black with No Cream, every time I scroll through that motherfucking feed, it's just new recap, thoughts. And it's just like, it looks like all kinds of other recaps. Like I'm not connected at all. What's the story? Lit? Like, that's not good. Yeah,
like you can have your lit moments, but that's another, like, you got to go search for these stories. And the shit that you don't, like, a lot of people, isn't the flashy stuff. Like, we all want to take the fucking illest photos. We all want to take the ill Ronin shot of the fire and whatever. But like some of the best things you find is when you go find the person and ask them something, or where you go get that interview, or where you go ask someone when their thoughts on something, or film the process.
Yeah. Some people will be doing jokes all the time, and I'd have to be like, they're not going to tell. They eventually did, because they realized how good I'd be at it. But at the beginning, like, they would just do, like, Q's squad did pranks. Like, that's the whole shit. The whole thing is pranks on pranks. So they would do a prank and they'd be like, oh, you missed it. That shit was funny. I'm like, how the fuck was I supposed to know you were going to throw like a ice on that guy? Like, no one told me that shit. I was supposed to have the camera out, be filming, assuming that, you know what I mean? So then eventually I would like start picking up on like cues, like, oh shit, he's about to prank him. And then if I missed the setup, I would be like, yo, what did you say you were going to do? And then you get the setup. Yeah. Now I know I can go film the ending, and then I can make it all make sense in the story. You know what I mean? And I would make little segments like that. But that's just one example of it. Like, I think it's just, I honestly would try to have like minimal moments of like epicness. You know what I mean? Like, the show shit would be cracking and it would be minimal as fuck. And then I go back into narrative, like storylines, because you can go see the show tomorrow. I want to show
the most powerful shit. Nat sound, like, even if it's just them, like, when it's a actual clip, that's the powerful shit. Like, everything else is just like, if you want to get in between scenes, it's cool, but like, that's what makes people stick around. Like, they like those tour episodes because they get to see and hear what actually happened.
Right. And I think going back to Travis's cousin, or nephew, because I say this in the idea of, I understand the desire and the like what it looks like, but it's not that. And if anyone thinks that touring is just straight chilling, hopefully then maybe you're Snoop's videographer or something. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just all about it and just a quick iPhone photo will work or something. But like, in my experience, and I would never ever go on a tour if it was even told to me like, hey man, come on out, just shoot sometimes and hang out and just fucking really enjoy the moments. And I'd be like, that sounds boring as fuck. You want to do the same thing every single night and you just want me to do that on repeat? Like, hell no. Like, I'm going to find a way to make every single night seem different and find stories that make sense or whatever. Like, I want to work really hard. That's the whole point of going on these things. Not even touring. Like, maybe it's like one-off jobs or like a quick documentary or a short film or something. Like, you have to find the value in all that stuff and try to take it as serious as possible, because that's the only thing that's going to get you bread in the future, is how well you do on this shit. Like, look at even right now, Darren's sitting here. He's helping us with filming the shit. He's a new intern. Shout out, welcome to the thing. But when we're asking people to submit content, it's like, yo, submit your work. Like, let me see what you do. And if you just desire to be in this shit, but you've never done nothing, you have nothing to show. So why would I pick? There were so many people that we had submit their shit, and then we look at it and be like, nah, I don't know what the fuck this is. Moving on. You know what I mean? And even you lived in South Carolina? North. It's like his reel was like, to us, it was like, oh, this is kind of like a highlight of like it looked like a highlight of summer. It wasn't like you were doing really like full like industry jobs, but I wasn't knocking him on that because he doesn't live anywhere near the industry. But he was doing like different things that were like cinematic, and you could tell the desire of like what he was trying to accomplish. You could tell that he has potential in that shit.
Right. I mean, it's the same as me. Like when I started my website, like I didn't have jobs, but you just keep updating that shit until it gets more and more where you want it. But at first it's just photos that I took here, this one video, and then it's 2, and then it's 3. But at least you're like understanding the need of like presenting. And this is a whole different topic, but
here's a whole nother different topic. Fuck that guy, Marcus, what's his last? Hyde. Fucking creepy weirdo. Random. Just heard about this shit. Fucking
I think
weirdo.
Back to the story. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Bitch.
back to this topic is just to Robbie wrap it up.
Yeah. Will it change? Will it solve your problems? Oops. Whoops.
It just depends. I think, there's going to be opportunities, and I think it's cool because if you listen to this, it's a different look, and it'll make you look at these opportunities different. Like, make sure you get what you deserve because you're going to be working for it. And I guarantee if you go out sometimes you got to, and that's cool, but just make sure you know what you're going to parlay that into. What are you going to do for yourself on that tour that's going to provide what you need that's better than the money, like we talk about in the guide. But also, like, make sure you go out and get what you need first off, because regardless of what they say or how easy you think it is, it's going to be 4 times as hard, 5 times.
Yep.
And also, not every opportunity, like, don't be tripping. Like, just because, this like one rapper, like, I'm missing this tour because what if I don't miss it? Well, cool. Because, like, you probably can do more without it. But, of course, what
do you mean by that? I don't understand.
In a sense of, like,
I might miss, like, he has a tour.
Someone reached out to you, like, we'll pay you $50, $25 a day to come on tour, and he's some rapper, and you think, look, and all the people are thinking, I gotta do it, and they freak out, right? And they go either underpaid or they like freak out because they're gonna miss out on it or whatever. But I'm saying, like, that opportunity isn't all that you might think it is.
Here's the reality too, is that that shouldn't have been yours to begin with. All of the situations we get into are fucking wild luck that you worked your ass off, got in the right situations, and someone asks, hey, do you want to do this tour? And they offer you some shitty rate, and you're sitting there like, oh my God, I have to get it. Like right now, I need to get this fucking bed, right? Like I want to buy a bed. You know the deal. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have to get that fucking ill-ass memory foam shit that's 4K for a mattress. I wasn't thinking about that 3 days ago. I just started thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to have it, but is that going to change my whole life? Nah, probably not. Do I need it? It's up to me. Right. What am I going to do with that bed? Sleep better.
Exactly.
But like on tour, it's the same thing. It's like you look at it like, is this person going to change your life? Yeah, they could. Is it going to be cool? Yeah, it could. Do you feel like you're going to miss an opportunity? Like I felt like I'm missing shit. Like I feel like shit. Like even now, I haven't worked with Q in forever. I would love to be shooting those shows with him.
100%.
Shit looks fucking cracking. All his new shows, he's doing all these festivals. It looks fun.
And you love his music. Then to me, that's the biggest fucking thing. To me personally, like if I'm going to go on a tour, first and foremost, I gotta fuck with the music heavy because you're gonna be, not only are you gonna be editing to this music at all times, but that music is gonna be the source of inspiration, and like that's what's gonna fuel you, right? And when if you admire this artist and you believe in this artist, then cool, that's dope to me, because that's a dope purpose to go on tour, because you're like, I care about this and I want to be a part of this team.
Or like the history and like documenting the history. You know what I mean?
Like be a part of it at this stage. Like even Nico's just went on tour with YBN Cordae, and he wasn't until he went on that I realized like, oh, this dude's really dope. I fuck with this guy, and he's gonna blow up. And like. And of course, when Nico's found he found Nico's, he had 1 million followers. So you can already tell, like, anyone would probably be like, all right, I'll go on this tour, because it's obviously something. But I think you got to do that first. Like, just because it's this person, they got X, but if you don't fuck with what they're doing, then that's just going to be even more of a drag on top of all the other things we just talked about.
I don't know how many times I've been asked to do some shit, and it's like, well, they're mad famous. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Like I'm not.
Who gives a fuck?
If I don't fuck with country music, like even if it's George Strait, like am I really going to fucking enjoy? I mean, I'm sure the bag's pretty dope, but like who cares?
Dude, country would actually be pretty dope, I think.
Dude, they play massive crowds.
Massive crowds, all girls. Like all of your subjects are girls, hot girls, so it's easy to shoot.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's never like just like grimy looking people. Like it's just that. Like hip hop shows, it was always sweaty dudes and they looked insane. And then every once in a while there'd be like some ratchet chick that threw her titties out, and you're just like, get it. You know what I mean? Make this shit look crazy.
Right.
But like,
you're trying to show like the person brings like a dope crowd.
yeah,
you know,
they turn out for that shit. Anyway, will touring solve your problem? Probably. If you handle it right. So that's the truth about touring. Truth about touring is motherfucking shit's exhausting. You have to be willing to put in work. That's the truth.
There's a lot of downsides to the pros. You gotta be prepared for it.
Yep. But definitely highly suggest if you get the opportunity, and just make sure you do your best to get your bag, which we talk about in the How to Charge a Client guide, available on shopbwnc.com. I highly suggest you invest $25, which is cheap as shit.
Ben, in the guide, Ben talks about his decision making when he was deciding to go on Q's store, and like how he decided what he was worth and all that shit. And it's really dope. So definitely check it out.
Yep. That's it. See you on Sunday.
Sunday.
Bye.